Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Imagine your mind isn't just like passively recording reality, but it's actually a powerful broadcast antenna that it actively shapes it.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that your internal monologue, that constant, relentless stream of chatter, seems to, well, predetermine how your day is going to go, how stressed or successful or even happy you'll be?
Definitely.
Our stack of sources for this deep dive suggests this isn't just your mood, it's your destiny, really.
Hmm.
We are diving into that profound, interconnected relationship between our thoughts, our beliefs, and, well, where we ultimately end up.
That's exactly right. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that the material we synthesize today, drawing heavily from the core concepts in You Become What You Think, it's not just one flavor of self-help.
Right.
It's actually a pretty comprehensive summary. It blends some of the most robust fields of human wisdom. You've got ancient Stoic philosophy, evidence-based habit-building techniques, modern cognitive psychology, and core mindfulness principles all rolled into one.
So our mission today, then, is basically to be your guides through this. We want to pull out the most practical, high-impact stuff, the actionable nuggets from this blend.
Yeah, the takeaways.
Exactly, the quick shortcuts and maybe some surprising insights. So you can get a kind of fast-track understanding of how to fundamentally rewire those deep, persistent mental patterns for, a calmer, more purposeful life.
Think of it as the instruction manual for your inner operating system.
Perfect analogy. Where do we start with that manual?
Well, if we're talking about the operating system, the very first line of code has got to be presence.
Okay.
The foundational idea in all this material is that true living, genuine peace, it only happens now, in the present moment.
Right now.
The second we start dwelling on past regrets or, constantly projecting future worries, what the sources call mental time travel,
Ah, I like that term.
we actively steal the joy and energy that's available right now. We just drain it away.
It's such a compelling idea because, well, we often forget that life isn't some distant goal line we're racing towards. It's just this moment
Yeah,
and then the next moment.
precisely.
And if you miss the moment you're actually in, you're basically missing your life, piece by piece.
And that clarity, that focus on the now, it leads immediately to one of the most, I think, memorable and practical concepts in the whole summary,
Yeah.
the concept of the one dart.
Okay, the one dart. Tell me more.
It's this great metaphor that beautifully separates pain from suffering. So pain is the first dart. It's inevitable.
Right.
You stub your toe, you face a minor rejection, maybe a market shift affects your work. Pain is just a fact of life. Stuff happens.
But the suffering, that's the second dart, I'm
Ex-
guessing.
Precisely. That's the dart you throw at yourself. Suffering is entirely self-inflicted. It's prolonged, intensified by the rumination, the self-pity, the endless overthinking that follows the initial pain. The material really emphasizes that while pain might be mandatory, suffering is completely optional. It's the story you tell yourself about the pain. That story becomes the suffering.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, right? Connecting this immediate concept to, like, ancient philosophy, the Stoic interpretation.
Exactly. The Stoics argued that events themselves, they're inherently neutral, just facts.
Neutral.
How so? Well, think about rain. Rain isn't intrinsically good or bad. It's just water falling from the sky.
Okay.
A traffic jam, a misunderstanding with a colleague, a minor failure at work. These are, from a purely objective standpoint, just neutral events, facts of the world.
Right, I see where you're going. The suffering.
The suffering we experience doesn't come from the external event itself, like the rain or the traffic jam. It comes solely from the judgment, the interpretation we layer onto it.
So when I label the rain as bad because it ruined my picnic plans.
That judgment is the source of your misery, not the actual water falling. The Stoic goal is this kind of radical acceptance of what is truly outside your direct control.
Okay, so if the source of all that optional suffering is my own judgment, then the immediate tool for reducing it has to be mindfulness.
Yeah.
But like actionable mindfulness.
Yes, exactly. And you really don't need to retreat to a monastery to practice this.
Good to know.
The technique the source recommends is actually pretty simple. It's observation. Just watching those difficult thoughts, the worries, the judgments, the self-criticism, as if they were, say, passing clouds in the sky.
Passing clouds. I like that visual.
Yeah, when you consciously strip away the personal attachment and the judgment, when you treat the thought like an object you're observing rather than a fact you are,
It loses its power.
it loses its emotional grip. Yeah. It's like the difference between hearing your phone buzz and feeling absolutely compelled to answer it immediately versus just noticing the buzz and choosing not to engage right then. You notice it, but you don't have to react.
Okay. And presumably, if you start cultivating this inner composure, this ability to observe, you naturally start maybe quitting that eternal rat race.
That's a huge part of it. The sources are absolutely clear on this. The constant chasing, whether it's for external wealth or validation from others or fame or whatever, that is the biggest, most exhausting creator of modern stress.
It's a treadmill, isn't it?
Totally. Chasing external rewards is exactly that. The moment you achieve one goal, the mind instantly just shifts the goalpost. It wants the next thing.
So the practice of internal composure, appreciating the present, that's the way off the treadmill.
It's the direct, maybe even counterintuitive path to real contentment. It stabilizes your happiness instead of making it constantly dependent on acquiring the next thing.
Okay, so if we can master composure externally by, say, refusing to chase, and internally by observing our thoughts, how do we fundamentally change the architecture of who we are, like the deep stuff?
Good question. That brings us to permanence, and that's where this concept of the identity loop comes in.
The identity loop. Okay.
This is where we shift from just managing stress to actually engineering transformation. The identity loop is basically this crystallization process.
How does it work?
Well, what you think repeatedly, over and over, starts to harden into your foundational beliefs.
Right.
And those beliefs, in turn, they shape your lasting identity. So if you consistently tell yourself, I am disciplined, or maybe the opposite, I'm just unlucky, those statements become the bedrock of who you believe you are. And that dictates your future actions. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Wow. Okay, so that really emphasizes why real transformation isn't built on just wishful thinking. It's built on small actions leading to big change, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about the power of compounding here. If you show up consistently, even in a tiny way, like a 5-minute gratitude practice each morning, or writing down one affirmation, or maybe journaling for 2 pages.
Those small things.
Tiny habits. But they compound into massive transformation over time because they reinforce and support the identity you've chosen to build.
This seems to tackle a key challenge many people face, relying too much on motivation.
Yeah, the material is crystal clear about that. Motivation, it's fleeting. It's a wonderful spark, sure, but it's totally unreliable for the long haul.
So what is reliable?
Discipline and established, structured routines. Those are the heavy machinery, so to speak, that carry you through the inevitable hard times and the plateaus when motivation just vanishes.
But, for our listeners, many are high achievers. They're already busy, maybe drained. Isn't finding the motivation just to start something new the hardest part? How does the source suggest we even initiate that discipline?
That's a great point. The key, according to the sources, is all about environmental design and reducing friction.
Reducing friction.
Yeah, make the desired action ridiculously easy to start. So don't decide you're going to write a whole book tomorrow. Just decide you'll open the document and type one single sentence.
Okay, lower the bar dramatically at first.
Exactly. Once the routine gets even slightly established, momentum starts to take over. And that's why the crucial mindset shift needs to be progress over perfection.
Progress over perfection. I like that. Growth relies entirely on consistent momentum, right? That slight daily improvement, not flawless performance every single time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you miss a day on your new routine, which happens, the crucial thing's the rebound. Get back to it the next day.
Right. The failure isn't missing one day.
The real failure is missing the day after the missed day. That's when the habit breaks down.
And this whole framework, discipline, habits, identity, it must tie directly into our mental health through our inner dialogue, that internal chatter again.
Directly. The quality of your inner self-talk basically determines your overall resilience. Positive, encouraging self-talk fosters belief and confidence.
And the negative stuff.
Negative inner chatter relentlessly erodes both. It just chips away at you.
But how do we actually stop that inner critic? It often feels so automatic, so ingrained.
Yeah, it does. The key insight here is learning how to interrogate your thoughts. Don't just accept them.
Interrogate them, like a cross-examination.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You need to treat every self-critical thought not as an undisputed fact, but as, say, a hypothesis, a mental event passing through. Ask yourself, is this thought absolutely true 100% of the time? Is this judgment actually helping me achieve my goals, or is it holding me back?
Hmm. So challenge its validity.
Exactly. You need to actively step back, silence that inner critic by questioning it, challenging its assumptions, and then consciously replace that harsh judgment with specific, actionable self-compassion. Be kind, but also constructive.
That active interrogation feels like it brings us back nicely to advanced resilience and maybe a deeper dive into Stoicism again, controlling the controllables.
That's the core principle, really. It demands that you focus your energy, your attention, solely on what you actually can control.
Which is,
Your thoughts, your interpretations of events, and your immediate actions, your responses.
and everything else.
You have to actively release it. Let go of the burden of trying to control, I don't know, economic shifts, the unpredictable behavior of other people, global events, things way outside your sphere of influence.
It's like mental sorting.
It is. When you mentally sort events into controllable and uncontrollable, you immediately free up enormous amounts of mental energy that were just being wasted, spinning wheels on anxiety about external forces.
Okay, this next tool for resilience you mentioned earlier is the one that really caught my eye because it feels so backwards. Negative visualization.
Ah, yes. It does sound counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It does. It means deliberately taking time to imagine losing things you currently value, your job, your health, maybe even close relationships.
That's exactly it. And people often hear this and immediately think, wow, that sounds incredibly morbid or depressing.
Yeah, kind of.
But the sources really stress the psychological benefit. The purpose isn't to make you miserable. It's actually a technique used to deepen your current gratitude
Wow.
by making you truly appreciate what you usually take for granted. By mentally processing potential loss before it happens, you significantly reduce your future fear and anxiety around it because, in a way, you've mentally survived the event already.
Ah, I see. It shifts your internal baseline of satisfaction upwards by reminding you what you have.
Precisely. It makes the present feel richer.
That's a powerful mental hack for shifting perspective.
Mm.
And speaking of hacks, let's dive into the core of the psychology aspect, the subconscious mind.
Right. The sources explain that the vast, vast majority of our moment-to-moment behavior, our reactions, our habits, it all runs on autopilot, governed by the subconscious.
It's running the show, even if we don't realize
It absolutely is, whether you like it or not. Therefore, the goal shifts from just managing surface-level thoughts to actively and carefully feeding that subconscious mind with empowering, productive beliefs.
feeding it. How?
Because the subconscious doesn't really analyze or judge, it basically just accepts what's fed to it repeatedly. Through repetition, through emotion, it dictates your default setting for reacting to life.
And visualization.
Yeah.
That's the most direct feeding mechanism we have.
It's one of the most powerful, yes. Because the brain, fascinatingly, doesn't clearly distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real-world sensory experience.
Wow. That explains why athletes use it so much.
Exactly. When you visualize success consistently and intensely, really feeling the emotions, seeing the details, you are literally using the brain's own hardware to strengthen the neural pathways associated with those positive outcomes. You're wiring yourself for success.
So you're replacing old limiting beliefs at the deepest level.
Essentially, yes. You're creating a kind of memory of a future success, which makes the actual path to achieving it feel more familiar and achievable, rather than daunting and totally unknown.
Makes sense. We should probably touch briefly on relationships too, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Because they seem like a direct extension of our internal state.
Absolutely critical. The sources stress the importance of, well, energy exchange.
Energy exchange.
Yeah, you should intentionally try to surround yourself with people who uplift you, who reinforce the positive identity you're trying to build, not people who drain your energy or diminish you. Your circle really can become your ceiling.
Choose your company wisely.
Very wisely. And also, when communicating within those relationships, the shift required is actually simple but really profound. Practice deep listening.
As opposed to
just waiting for the other person to pause so you can jump in and prepare your next clever reply or argument. Deep listening means listening to genuinely understand the other person's perspective, their feelings.
trying to see it from their side.
Exactly. True connection comes from giving your full attention, not from trying to win the conversation.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We're ending the main discussion here on what feel like the ultimate superpowers that emerge when you integrate all these practices. Gratitude and purpose.
Those are the pinnacles, according to this material. Gratitude, meaning consciously focusing on abundance, on what you have, right now literally rewires the brain away from a scarcity mindset.
And scarcity is the root of so much anxiety and striving.
So much of it. And then there's purpose. The final finding really is that lasting deep fulfillment isn't found in chasing fleeting pleasures or external rewards. It's derived from aligning your actions with a sense of purpose and contribution.
Looking beyond yourself.
Exactly. True happiness seems to emerge most strongly when you look beyond your own immediate needs and find meaning in serving others or contributing to a cause you believe in, something greater than yourself.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, listening right now? It feels like the entire framework, the mindfulness, the stoicism, the disciplined habits, the focus on the subconscious, it all ties together. It gives you the ultimate control, doesn't it? The ability to monitor your own thoughts, to consciously choose empowering beliefs, and ultimately to actively design a life that's aligned with your highest self, your best version.
Which leads us to perhaps a final provocative question for you to think about. It's based on one of the highest level principles mentioned in the source material, the idea of detaching from outcomes.
Detached from outcomes.
Okay. The sources advise that true peace, that inner calm we're all seeking, comes more from the effort you put in the quality of your actions rather than the specific external reward you receive or think you deserve.
So do the work, but let go of the results.
Do the work sincerely, with full commitment, absolutely. But don't cling obsessively to the specific results you want or expect. So the question to mull over is this. What would fundamentally change in your daily life, maybe in your job or in your relationships, if you truly internalize that idea, if you really learn to let go of the results?
That's definitely something to chew on.
Something to think about until the next deep dive.